Hi, Huzefa. What's up? Good evening.
Good evening, Chiradeep. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
All good. Thank you.
Great, great. We will just wait for 2 minutes and we'll begin.
Sure.
And before we begin, I just want to invite um, the audience to say hello or hi to us. Thank you so much, Bibin, Stephen. Welcome. Good evening. Thank you for joining in. Anybody else, if you're there, you can just I think 6 people have joined. That's encouraging. Yes, as usual, Shehzad is there. Good evening. Thank you, Shehzad.
Hello. Good evening. Good evening, Bibin. Good evening, Shazad.
Yeah, excited to be part of the More Than a Victim LinkedIn Live event. Yes, looking forward to insightful discussions that challenge perspectives and empower survivors beyond their experiences. Absolutely. Absolutely. I pinned your comment. So on my podcast, your comment goes viral. Hi, Kalpana.
Hello. Hello, Kalpana.
Yes, Azad. Thank you. You're welcome. Most welcome. Yeah, they're hoping to grow as I hear you talk.
Likewise, Sunidhi. Likewise. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, power to talk is
Absolutely.
uh,
Power talk, listening to talk to grow.
power talk. Correct.
Right.
You're welcome, Vivin. Okay. All set, Josefa?
Yes.
Despite increased awareness, bullying remains a harsh reality for many students, whether it happens in classrooms, playgrounds, or behind screens on social media. The scars it leaves can last a lifetime. Victims often struggle with self doubt, fear, and isolation, wondering if they will ever break free from the labels others put on them. But what if overcoming bullying isn't just about survival, it's about transformation? What if the very experience meant to break someone could instead shape them into a stronger, more resilient individual? Why do we want to focus on the negativity? Bullying is a global concern, as we all know, and this is especially true of cyberbullying that respects no boundaries. In India, there are very few voices and very little representative research on bullying, which leads to larger concerns around whether we clearly understand what bullying is and whether enough initiatives are being taken to build a culture of care. Now, I was checking the statistics. According to another UNICEF study, at least 36% Indian students are subject to harassment and bullying in school campuses. That's slightly higher than what UNICEF says in the global average, where at least 1 in 3 students aged 13 to 15 have experienced bullying. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the I Listen Space live LinkedIn and YouTube podcast. I am 𝗟𝗓𝗏, an author and life coach, your host as always. I am thrilled to have a very special and dynamic young guest within us, Mr. Huzefa Hakim. Uh, 𝗍𝗪 is a communication coach, life skills trainer, and founder of Talk to Grow. And he is going to share his personal journey of overcoming bullying. Once a victim himself, Huzefa transformed his experiences into a mission to empower students and individuals with essential life skills. His mission definitely is not just rescuing those who are being bullied or helping them out of it, but his mission is much bigger and larger than that, which he will definitely reveal to us tonight. Before we dive into our discussion, let me give a brief introduction to 𝗓𝗏𝗡, which was founded by me on the 19th March 2023. It is not an organization or a business or a company, but a transformative safe space dedicated to foster active listening, character building, and strengthening strong relationships. And I believe these three components of 𝗓𝗏𝗡 are interlinked and interdependent with each other. Tonight, Huzefa and I will be discussing on a crucial topic, as the name suggests, more than a victim, where we will get into the lessons, life lessons. We will learn most valuable lessons by tackling challenges like bullying and beyond. We think that the theories will help us to understand. Okay, no. Only when we tackle challenges, we learn. So, Huzefa, welcome to 𝗓𝗏𝗡 live podcast for both LinkedIn and YouTube audience. And thank you, all the audience, whoever has joined. 7 people have joined. Thank you so much. And Huzefa, thank you so much for honoring and accepting my invitation. How are you doing? And please tell me, and all of us, a little bit about yourself before I start shooting my questions for you to answer.
Thank you very much, Chiradeep ji. It's a pleasure being on this show. I have been following your LinkedIn lives for quite some time now, and being a guest over here is a privilege for me. So, firstly, thank you so much for this invitation. To all the viewers on YouTube, on LinkedIn, thank you so much, everyone, for joining again. For those of you who may not know me, my name, of course, it's Huzefa. I am the founder of Talk to Grow, which is a professional training and development brand that I'm building currently. We mainly focus on providing a life skill training program for students in institutions and working professionals in organizations. And one of the mission that we have, or the only mission that we have at Talk to Grow, is to make individuals express like there is no second chance.
Correct.
This entire mission stems from the experiences that I've had in my life, because now, as a communication coach, I can understand and I try and empathize with people when they say that they know everything that they have to about a situation, but they cannot put it in words.
Mm.
That is where I step in and break those barriers for them, help them realize what are the areas in which they are sort of behind and where they can actually work upon to improve their skills. That's what I do as a communication coach. Apart from that, I am a trainer, a soft skill trainer, and of course, training students and planning very customized interventions for working professionals is something I do on a daily basis. Because while I was pursuing my master's, I realized that this problem is huge. It cannot be restricted to any one specific target audience, but of course, I am running a business, so I cannot say that everybody is my target audience. I need to choose and specify. So that's when my major target audience right now are the working professionals. But I have done a lot of programs for students, and even now, I do train students on a lot of soft skills. That is a little about my professional background. Personally, I have been a ardent introvert since my childhood. Seeing me currently on LinkedIn, or people who constantly follow me, will not accept this fact, but I know where I am coming from, and what it has taken me to be where I am today. And of course, to everybody who feels that only because I'm an introvert I might lose out on a lot of opportunities in life. A live example is sitting right in front of you. So please don't fear. And anybody who's watching this video, please go ahead and ask any doubts that you might have. Of course, bullying is something that we would be going ahead and having some discussions on. But even otherwise, if you feel that there is something in life which is holding you back and you need some clarity on it, you can please feel free to ask. We would be more than happy to answer those queries. We cannot provide a solution. Of course, that's not possible in 1 hour. But if a different perspective can help you get to a better place, then I'm sure I listen and talk to grow will be more than happy for that. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yes. Yes. And you being an introvert, you have learned to talk and express, and you have grew bigger, bigger than who you were before, right? So
Right.
that's why, as your brand name suggests, talk to grow. That's wonderful, wonderful what you do and what you are doing. So let's get into the business. Bullying can leave deep emotional scars, and each person's experience is unique. All of us, we will agree to that. Can you share your experience of being bullied? What kind of challenges did you face? And how did it affect your confidence and mental well being at that time?
Sure. This
And what is that?
Sure. So this dates back to the time when I was in school, somewhere around fourth or fifth standard, if I clearly remember. So that means I was 11 years old, 11 to 12 years old. I'm sure not younger or
Mhm.
any more elder. Around that point of time, I had suddenly gained a lot of weight because until I was 9, 10 years old, I was, I won't say in a very good health or my weight was not too much or something like that, but I was fit enough. At least by then, until that point, I never felt conscious about my own body. But after that, slowly, of course, my weight increased and I did start feeling that in this particular body, I'm not very comfortable. And the first sign of that was, I think, in sixth standard, when I, on the first day of school, when I wore my school shirt, it was actually tight. And that is something that had happened to me for the first time in life. And I was wondering, I went and told Mama that, okay, I think this shirt has become tight. Let's go and get new ones. She's like, this is just a few months old. And how can you say that it became tight? If it was 2, 3 years old, maybe I can understand. But you can, of course, we'll go get a new shirt, nothing like that. But for now, just go ahead and adjust with this because you have to go to school. And that was the first sign through which I realized that, okay, my weight is increasing. But that was not all until unless I realized and actually did something about it. People in school started noticing it, and I was very chubby. So one thing that people really liked about me were my cheeks. Every other person in any family gathering or things like that would come and just pull them. And while at that point of time it made me feel very nice, eventually it became a little painful as well. But in school, it so happened that after a point, it did not just stick to they pulling my cheeks. It went ahead and moved forward to people calling me names. And I clearly remember this one incident wherein we used to go in a school van. Right? So we had a van in which almost at that point of time, around 16 to 17 kids used to be seated in one van. And we used to have a hour-long journey throughout the city until I reached my home. So this one day I was sitting on the front seat of the van, and the driver, he bought two, three other kids. Like they were supposed to be enrolled in this particular van. So he bought two, three more kids and he made them sit next to me at the front seat. And of course, because my weight was more and I was a little fat, there wasn't much space. So he sent those two kids back and he sent another one boy front. So when this boy came front, he was not having enough space to sit. So he just sort of tried adjusting and he sat there and then he shut the door. So from back, this one girl just ended up saying that I hope you are alive and I hope everything is fine. I hope you're not being trampled by people around you. So he's like, yeah, I think you can understand what I am going through, but it's okay. I will adjust and sit. And it was a clear indication
Mm.
to me because they were trying to look at me and say those things to me. So that is, those are the kind of experiences that I have had. And while, of course, them calling me names and things like that would be going on, it was frequently done. in the initial phases, but then later on it stopped. Maybe because they realized I am not giving much of a response to it. So they probably found somebody else and they would have continued doing that with somebody else, but they stopped doing it with me. And apart from that, there was also some sort of exclusion that I faced because, as I mentioned, I was an introvert back in school and I did not have many friends back then. I wanted to be a part of these groups that we have in classrooms, which is a very huge problem in our education system.
mm,
That you have these popular guys, these popular boys, girls, and if you're
mm,
a part of that group, then you'll be respected in the whole class. If you're not a part of that group, then you're a rebel. And of
mm,
course, there was the scene was nothing different at my school as well. It was more or less the same. And I always wanted to be a part of those groups so that I don't feel left out. And
mm,
if I feel left out, I know that nobody will accept me, nobody will come and talk to me, and
mm,
he will never get out of his shell. So that's why I always tried being a part of that group. But every time that happened, I was somehow sidelined, you can say. And these are things that I have not disclosed very openly to a lot of my friends who are my friends even today, who had seen me back in school.
mm,
Because for them, they have always seen Huzefa as this person who was happy, and if we go and talk to him, he will talk very nicely to us. So they probably did not even know that within me all of these things are going on.
mm,
And it used to happen in certain class subject periods, and certain it used to happen during the PE classes as well. So there are very few instances, but of course I remember the kind of impact that they had on me. And because naturally, because I was fat, I was not good in any sports. So there
mm,
was also a fear of missing out of playing certain sports, and that is something that I carried with me for a very long time.
mm,
That's just pretty much about that. It was only after I stepped out of school that I realized all those things really did not matter. At that point of time,
mm,
of course, they pushed me behind in terms of having a different perspective. But from then, when I moved on to college, I realized that the world has so many different things to offer.
mm,
To be aware of what to choose when. And once you have given your heart and soul to it, and once you're doing everything that needs to be done for it, nobody can stop you.
mm,
The realization that I found a little later in life, but probably if I would have had that realization in school, things could have been a little different. And
mm,
as I mentioned, again, not many people know about this thing. My own friends, including the ones who were there in school and who are with me right now. So probably this live might be an eye opener for them because I'm not very openly discussed about these things. I haven't discussed these things with my parents as well
yeah, yeah,
because there was always a fear that what if they go say that just go make a place for yourself, and people will say you just need to get over it. Though I knew that they are not the kind of people who would give me such a response, there was always fear within which
mm,
always sort of I did not want to face that fear. Today, if somebody tells me, Uzafa, you're scared of this, why don't you actually go ahead and try it? I'll do it because now I'm a little emotionally resilient. Back then,
mm,
that wasn't the case. And of course, as kids, at least when I was young, nobody
yeah,
thought about resilience and things like that. I did not know the meaning of the word resilience until I came in college. But I
absolutely.
see the scene changing today. There are trainings being done on life skills in schools today, which is a very, very, very good sign
We'll
of
come to that. We will come to that soon.
absolutely. So, yeah.
So I was just wondering that do you as you teach, as you train people about life skills, do you think ignoring or yeah, just ignoring the taunts of people like you did, you never, I mean, you did not dwell with those thoughts. So is it one of those strategies? I
Of
mean, is it part of your curriculum, like ignoring the taunts?
definitely not, because that is something
Definitely not. I know. I know.
nobody should be doing, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people
Yes,
can't do it. I
addressing is very much needed.
Exactly. In my
Yeah,
case, I believe I was able to ignore it because
mm,
complementing to this thing where I was bad in physical fitness and sports and
absolutely.
for that, I was good in academics. So every
Yeah,
time somebody used to look at me, they used to be like, "Oh, if you have to, be good in academics, be like Huzafa." Today, I'm
mm,
like, okay, that doesn't even matter. But at that point of time, that used to be sort of an energy booster for me.
correct, correct,
Like,
correct.
okay, maybe this is one thing that the world does not respect about me, or some people in my world do not respect about me. But yeah, there is something which people look up to me. So why not? Let's just get into that. Of course, while doing too much of that, I became too much of a bookworm. There used to be a time wherein while I was in school, I used to mug up subjects also. I have
Mm,
mugged up concepts in exams, and that is a very big mistake that I've done. I learned it
mm,
the hard way that that's not how you learn things. You need to understand concepts rather than simply just taking it a night before and going and vomiting out in the exam. A lot of time our teachers used to tell us, don't do it, don't do it. And probably for a very long time, that was my only strategy of scoring better. And it worked also. But whoever
mm,
is watching this live, especially the students, please, that's not a thing that will take you forward in life. If that is something that you're doing, that's not how you gain knowledge. It was a very wrong notion I had. I have learned it the hard way. Probably you can
mm.
take my perspective and learn it sooner.
True. So, like, my one concern is, like, you said, all these things. Even if you did not dwell in those thoughts, or even if those innocent. I mean, they were also innocent. Though those kids were also innocent. They did not know what bullying is, whatever they are doing, because the awareness was not there at that I mean, that particular moment, I mean, time. So yet you said that it impacted you, even if you had other things, good thing, positive things in your life, which made you undermine these negative influences or impacts of, like, bullying or something, or just statements or taunting. So my question is, the if like the effects of bullying often extend far beyond that particular moment. It can shape our beliefs about ourselves and how we interact with the world.
Exactly.
So looking back, how did bullying shape your self image, relationships, and overall growth during your school years? As you said, it impacted. So can you just give a little light on those matters, or it did not shape you that way?
Well, of course, in terms of what I had faced, it did shape a lot of my image differently.
Hmm.
There was a point wherein, of course, in school this used to happen, but there is another place also where this thing happened, which is a few relatives' place when I used to go there. And they were seeing me as this growing child. So supposedly they were concerned for me and they wanted good for me. So every time I tried eating beyond my limits, they used to stop me that, okay, stop, you shouldn't be eating so much, you should be mindful of how much you eat. And at that point of time I used to take it very seriously that, okay, maybe my weight has increased because I actually have no control over my diet, and maybe I don't know what is the right thing for me to eat and things like that. So at one point, of course, it had taken such a toll that I had started being very mindful of everything that I eat, including the things that I loved, which were healthy. Because at that point of time, nobody was there to educate me that even if you eat normal ghar ka khana, you won't grow fat or your weight won't increase. It was just the fact that some food which is going in my body in some excessive portion is leading to some amount of weight gain, and that is something I don't want. But thankfully it did not extend for a very long time. And sooner I realized that it's not about the food that you're eating, it is just the mindset, and it's how you balance it out with a lot of different things in your life. But yeah, of course, it did shape my identity as someone who used to be very mindful of the food choices and things like that. So even today, of course, I am working on my physical fitness. Even today, I am mindful of my food choices. Thanks to some of those unhealthy experiences, they had something positive in them. But today, I don't go very harsh on myself. Let's say at that point of time, if I used to eat one roti extra in front of those relatives, they used to be like, "Oh, he's eating so much." And today, if I do it, I'm like, "It's fine. I've had a stressful day. I just had something extra, nothing to be sad about." I do get conscious sometimes, but it doesn't take such a toll on me as it had taken back then. Because when you say this to a child that, learn what to eat and how much to eat earlier so that, in future you don't face an issue, they become very conscious about a lot of things. And it was not in the things that they told, it was in the manner that they told. It used to be, we are sitting on a dinner table, and once that's what happened. We were sitting on a dinner table, and in front of almost 6 to 7 people, I was told this thing that, you should be having some control on your diet, though, because you're growing up, and you need to be very mindful of how you're eating, in front of who you're eating, and things like that. And not that I was behaving in a very unhealthy manner, it was just me trying to get some normal, food within me, and I was just very happy because the food on the table was something that I really love. It was all of the dishes were my favorite. I was just very excited and having it. And while that was going on, this was told to me in front of those people. So that made me a little conscious.
So, moving on, thank you so much for sharing all those uh, like impacts that you experienced and how you became so conscious and all. Thank you so much. And I would like our audience, to respond a little bit if you have experienced certain kind of bullying or taunts in your school days, or now also you can share in the comment section, and it would be really nice to understand your experiences. And if you have any suggestions or your piece of advice, okay, we will definitely value it, and I will definitely value it. So yeah, moving on. um, Huzefa, healing from bullying is a journey. Okay, it's never just कोई मंत्र फूक दिया और हीलिंग हो गया, ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है. So, and for many, there's a turning point where they decide to reclaim their confidence. What was the key moment of or a realization that helped you break free from the negative impact of bullying? I know the impact was not so much for you. That is something you're blessed. Even I am blessed. I never, though I was called, I mean, it's just a opposite of fat. I was very thin. I was called drumstick. Okay. So, but same like you, I never really dwelt in it, and I'm happy. I don't have any impacts, but I do have impacts. It shaped me, but again later I overcame it. So this healing process needs time. And what about you? What was the key moment of or realization that helped you break free? Well, how did you start rebuilding your confidence, and at what point of time? So yes, if you can say.
Sure. Of course, it's not been an easy journey, and the bullying part and the name calling thing and all of that continued from fifth, sixth standard, not fifth exactly, I think sixth grade is what I remember. Went up till ninth, so that was 3, 4 years. And after that, once I stopped caring and once I didn't stopped paying attention to all these things, probably that's when a little bit of the process had started, but I was not very conscious of it. Then moving to 11th and 12th is when I realized, okay, the kind of people that I need in my life, they don't care about how many kgs I weigh or how do I look or how do I appear to them. For them, it was all about the kind of heart that I had. And that is when I realized that, okay, now I have found the right friends that I was looking for all this while.
Hmm.
They were always there in the same institution itself. The realization hit me a little different that, okay, these are the ones who are going to be my tribe. And from 11, 12th, the process slowly started. But of course, I was still not very physically fit. And that thing used to bother me that I think I should be working on my fitness. I was not able to for some reason. Again, because my 11th and 12th was an ISC, and ISC syllabus is so amazing that it keeps you on your toe. And the same that happened with me also. So I did not find time. And as I mentioned, I was a bookworm back then. So a lot of
Hmm.
pressure into academics and things like that. I did not pay attention to all these things. But
Correct.
the moment I stepped into my undergraduation, I came across this one beautiful platform. It's
Hmm.
called as Toastmasters International.
Uh-huh.
For people who do not know about it, it's a US based organization which helps you shape and work on your public speaking, leadership, and
Oh
communication.
wow.
And that is something which was a part of our college curriculum in the first year. And when we were oriented about this specific platform, we were told that you have to be a part of this, you have to come and give speech projects and things like that. And one of the cultures in Toastmasters is whenever you're going and giving a speech, even if you fumble, people sitting in the audience will clap for you. And they will do that just to raise your motivation so that even if you've forgotten your speech, you can get back, recollect, and you can do it. you can at least complete it. It won't be perfect, of course, but there will always be a scope for improvement. But that's how people will motivate you. That's when I'm like, okay, there's a platform which is clapping for me if I mess up. Why should I
Mm,
take advantage of it? And that's when I started giving those speeches, I started opening up about myself. Also, until now, in any of my Toastmaster speeches, I have not spoken about bullying at all. But I did start speaking about a lot of things
mm,
for which I felt that in school I was excluded and I did not have people to listen to. But okay, over here, people were asked to sit and they did not have any other option but to listen to me.
mm,
Started speaking, I started expressing more. The moment I did that, I realized that okay, the world over here is ready to listen to you. You should know what to express, how to express, and the right time of doing it. And that is when my healing process took that right turn, which I was always looking for. The more I started expressing, the more I also started getting different perspectives, different,
wonderful, wonderful.
and I got that motivation to actually work on myself. And in the first
Mm.
year of my undergraduation itself, I started working on my physical fitness, and I lost almost 10 kgs in a span of 4 months.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's
So
wonderful.
that's how the entire cycle happened.
Great, great, great.
Yes.
Here there are some, comments. Name calling. Kalpana writes name calling. The body, face, structure, or screen color, which is unfortunately regarded a norm, is the first step of bullying that goes unnoticed. Mm. And she also writes, "ए काले सुकड़ी, मोटे भेंगे भेंगा," etc. We have heard all these words in a humorous manner, not realizing they could have scared the person in question. um, Scared and scarred as I mean, it leaves the scar as well.
True.
People's response to this is usual. This is usual. If the
Correct.
person is so, what's the harm in calling so? Okay, yeah,
I see those responses coming in even today. And
yeah, yeah.
once or twice, it's fine. Later on, even after my undergraduation, it used to happen with me. And
Mm,
because at that point of time, I knew that I had stopped caring. And even that point of time, the ones who used to call, they never had that intention, that harmful intentions. But in school, when it used to happen very frequently, I had started realizing that even if people don't have an intention, maybe they're not able to see that I'm not very comfortable when they're saying that thing. So if I'm not saying anything, it does not mean that I'm very comfortable taking it. It's that amount of discomfort which nobody was able to see. And that is something that bothered me. That is it that people don't care? Or
mm.
is it that they care but they are doing it to make me learn or something like that? It was a mixture of those thoughts, and I was always caught up in that spiral.
I always think about when, as Kalpana said, it is a very common thing. Like people in India, I don't know about Western culture, but in India, we cut jokes about our siblings, our cousins, friends, wherever we feel like. So I feel there are three things. PTP, PTP. We should always be careful.
Mhm.
The place we are in.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, we can joke around. Definitely, if we don't joke with our friends and family members, then वो मतलब नहीं होता है जिंदगी का. वो होता है कुछ कभी कभी हो जाता है. But place is important. You need to be aware of where you are
Correct.
and the time.
Correct.
Somebody is sad and you cut jokes. That's not the right time. You need to be aware of the time. And the third thing is people around you.
True.
It's very important.
Absolutely.
If I am talking to Huzefa and if I want to cut jokes on him, then I have to be very careful because we are not that close. No, we met on social media.
Correct.
Okay, and then the level also we need to see the bond we have, the level of our relationship.
Okay.
So these things, people is relationship. So these three things, I think it's very important to remember before making those jokes or name calling, whatever it is. Okay,
Agreed.
moving on. Despite increased awareness and anti-bullying campaigns, many students still suffer in silence. Why do you think this issue persists, and what can be done differently to address it effectively?
I genuinely feel there are two major people. This is purely from the perspective of the ones who are in school.
Hmm.
So, in such a case, there are two major stakeholders who come into picture. The first one are the parents.
Mm.
Not the parents of the children who are bullying or who are getting bullied. That
Mm.
you are not telling them how to, cope up with that situation. It is the parents of the people or the kids who are bullying.
Yeah.
Why? Because a lot of times I have seen the remarks that were thrown at me came
Mm.
in from people who actually came from dysfunctional families.
Ah.
And when things in your surroundings are not very good, it takes a very different kind of toll on the child's mental health.
Mm. Mm.
And when they go to school and they know that they have the power to
Mm.
take that thing out on somebody else, they do it by resorting to things like bullying.
Mm.
That is something that I have realized with time, and that's the reason a lot of times when those remarks came in, they continued doing it because for them it was not about how I was feeling. It was about they wanted to get that power in them and showcase it to the world that, oh, you know what, I'm able to make fun of this person or I'm able to make fun of Huzefa. I am so cool. Okay, because that's how a child's mentality cannot be shaped at that age that, oh, you're being very rude. It
True.
needs to come from certain spaces wherein they are feeling mentally very okay.
True.
And I wouldn't even blame the children for it. It is obviously the parents who are to be blamed, even if not fully. It is their responsibility to make sure that the surrounding that is given to them when they are growing up is very healthy. And the second very important stakeholder are the teachers. It is a very sad reality that, at least in my own school, there were some teachers, of course, I wouldn't take names, but there were some teachers who used to go ahead with the students in calling these names and calling other students with these names. I have seen that firsthand myself. It is something that's not happened with me.
That is horrible.
But there have been teachers who have done that. They used to just laugh it out, and once or twice, okay, understandable that you have that bond with the students, so you're doing it. They
Mm.
used to do it repeatedly and in front of so many other students who
Mm.
that person did not even know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it used to be juniors. When things like these happens in front of a junior, you have no clue how bad a person feels, how
Mm.
motivated they feel to face that junior again. Because as a teacher, you will say and you will forget it. The junior carries with them for a lifetime. And they feel that, okay, I can take this person for granted. I can go tell them whatever they want. They will take it in a humorous manner. So that also needs to change. I have seen this in my school. I am not sure how the scene right now is, but a lot of teachers feel that advocating these things will just make the students strong and we just want to have a chill bond with them. It's honestly not about the chill bond. At least in this age, it is more about how you're making the students feel. That is
Mm.
something that really needs to be taken into consideration.
As you spoke about these stakeholders like parents and teachers, I want to just ask you, like, parents play a crucial role, as you correctly said, in supporting children who face bullying. But sometimes the signs aren't very obvious.
Agreed.
How can parents identify signs that their child is being bullied? It's very difficult for. I mean, teacher, okay, understandable. They are in the school or colleges, but for parents to understand what their children are going through is kind of very difficult, and especially in today's world when the parents are very busy.
Of course.
So, what steps should they take to provide emotional and practical support? Like, if you have any tips for the parents, yeah,
Of
you
course,
already said a little bit more.
I completely understand that, of course, parents these days are very busy and it's not their fault. The age where you're living in, both the parents need to earn to sustain a very healthy lifestyle. But in such cases, to make sure that you know what is going on in your child's life, there are two very important things that can be done. First thing is, of course, daily check in on their emotions. Not about what happened in school or what's your homework or what subject are you lacking in. Of course, that is something all the parents do. It's more about the emotional check in. And a very important thing that the parents can actually do is incorporate a habit of making your child sit and write in a journal. You give them some 4 to 5 prompts on a daily basis about how they are feeling. Just may ask them to answer it, nothing else. You don't even have to question it. Maybe at the end of every week, go through how they've been feeling throughout the week. And if you find any negative emotion recurring, take a note of it. That might be a sign of something they are going through, but they're not able to express. And when they start doing that more consistently, they will realize that they're able to understand their own child better. I think these two are the very important things that parents can actually do. And amidst your busy schedule, you wouldn't need too much time for it. Max, it takes us 30 minutes in the night. I'm pretty sure every parent of this world can spare that much time out.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Huzefa. Thank you so much. These two are like I always talk about is journaling, and you mentioned it. I'm happy. So yeah, you rightly said emotional check-in is very much necessary. We check our stocks. Kitna raha, kitna gaya.
Absolutely.
So this LIFO, FIFO. So like in accounts, we do that, and it is necessary for the parents to take. I mean, check where with the status of their children and the emotional status of their children. It's very important. And journaling, I will always say yes to journaling. So like academic success is important, but life skills are what truly help students face real world challenges. What are some key life skills that students should develop to navigate challenges beyond bullying? There are there are issues more than bullying. So explain few very important, at least three or जितने भी आप रखे हो. So what are those जो
Sure. So I
आपका
think
बैग में जितना भी arrows है, if you want to give. Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
all right, I'll go ahead with the first
Before
arrow.
you just answer my question, Kalpana has written, I as a parent has made it a point to check on my daughter regularly. If she is happy, if anything is bothering her in school or at home. Wonderful, wonderful.
That's a great
So
approach.
we need parents and mothers like Kalpana.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Yeah, please go ahead, Huzefa.
Sure, sure. So the first arrow from my bag, I think one very important thing I would want to personally train most of the students in, and I would actually like students to be skilled in, is being assertive about what do they want, what are they comfortable with, what are they not comfortable with. Because this is something that I have seen in my school also.
Uh-huh.
There were students who were very assertive, but whenever they tried expressing what they want or how they feel about a certain thing, they were labeled as egoistic.
Ah.
Which is such a bad thing. You
Mm,
never bother listening to how they're feeling first thing. And when they
mm,
express themselves that what is something that is bothering them or what is something that they feel is right or wrong, you feel that, oh, this child is so egoistic, or
mm.
this child has too much of ego in him or her, and they are just very what do you call, open about everything that they feel. They should not be like that. There should be a boundary. You
Or,
can teach boundary
or
to a
talking
child.
back, or talking back,
Exactly.
or
They are
yeah,
talking back or they are replying to the
talk
teacher,
back.
how dare you. Of
Correct,
course,
correct.
respect goes two ways, but and you can't propagate that thing very, very frequently in a child, but
Absolutely,
you can teach
absolutely,
them about boundaries only when you're open to listening to them.
absolutely, absolutely. That is true.
So I think
That is true.
assertiveness is one thing which every child should definitely learn. I
Wonderful.
understand there are some children who come from a background wherein they don't know the right way of putting their points across. And which they do it in a lot of aggression that makes them come across as egoistic, but they are not at fault. So in such cases, when you teach them how to be assertive in the right sense, that is when that gap reduces and they can learn that life skill and it will stay with them forever. So that is one thing. And the second thing, of course, that a student needs to know is, of course, resilience, which in my dictionary is not just bouncing back from failure. It is more about how you deal with life's challenges on a daily basis. Because as a student, of course, it's not just academics and scoring good marks or things like that that we go through. And I have, because I have taken English communication classes for some students, they were based out of a tier 3 town in Bihar. And after just 6 sessions with them, one of the sessions I asked them that, is there any question that you have, keeping English communication aside, or koi sawal hai aapka? Because they were in Bihar, I spoke to them very comfortably in Hindi. They're like, sir, how do you manage stress in life? I'm like, okay, what stress do all of you have? They're like, sir, in general, how do you manage stress in life? There is so much stress going on, no? What do you do to manage it? I'm like, okay. I did not ask them anything more. I'm like, see, whatever is stressing you out, okay, first thing, this age that you are in, you are not going to get it again. As much as possible, you live your life and enjoy as much as possible. Okay? And whatever is stressing you out, you have people around you who you're comfortable talking to. Go and talk to them, address whatever you're saying. Okay, so that will definitely be taken care of. And if you're feared or if you're scared about achieving something, you will always have your teachers, parents backing you up. Even if you feel that they are maybe someone too much of an authority to go talk to, you might have a sibling, you might have a friend you're comfortable talking to. Go talk to them about how you're feeling. So that is one thing that I told them. That's when I realized that, okay, at that age, if they can think about stress and how do you overcome stress, there is a lot of work that needs to be done in the resilience.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So these two are the very important life skills I really believe that students should be learning.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I would say resilience is like traveling daily on a local train. You know, you get up, you board, and then you unboard. It keeps happening. You know, it's moment by moment. You have to renew yourself. No,
Correct. Correct.
so you have to come back. You have to recover. Then again, you will face challenges. Then again, recover. I mean, you need to have that power. That and it happens when you on a day-to-day basis you practice, you practice, you practice.
Correct.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Being assertive and resilience.
Yes.
You know, these two things, these two arrows will definitely help the students to hit the bullseye. Great.
True.
So many people carry the effects of bullying well into adulthood, impacting their confidence, relationships, and self worth. What are some ways individuals can heal from past bullying experiences, even years later? Like we talked about students, but as you said initially, that you not only, I mean, you rarely talk, helping the students these days. It's a business. You are, training. Being a soft skills trainer, you are training normal people, professionals. So how do you? What are the tips you have, advice you have for adults, those who are still struggling, even years later?
One thing which I realized with time is every time somebody points out these things repeatedly about you, and it might not be only about body shaming, a lot of times it is also about the culture that you belong to, the
Yeah, yeah,
gender that you are.
yeah.
Like, I have seen women being faced with sexist remarks.
Mm,
It is something which is common even today.
yeah.
And no matter how much we speak about equality, gender equality, and all of that, these things do happen. So you
Mm,
can be bullied even at workplace. Okay, for the
mm,
kind of opinions that you hold, you can get bullied for that. And I have heard that thing happening for a lot of my clients. And in such cases, one thing that I have always told them, and I have understood that whenever somebody tells you or points out something which is more of your weakness,
mm.
it's some amount of hidden insecurity that they're projecting on you.
Ah.
More than focusing on your weakness, you try bringing a perspective that it is that person's insecurity and that
Mm,
their problem, it is not your problem. When you
yes.
do away with that part and when you separate
Mm,
their insecurities with your weakness, you
mm,
will try working on your weakness and you will
mm.
leave their insecurity apart because that is something which,
Wonderful, wonderful. That's a wonderful comment. Great, great.
so that is one thing which I have applied. And that's why I never went and told anyone that, this person bullied
Yeah,
me or
yeah.
that person bullied me. Even later after we graduated also, I never bothered telling these because I knew that maybe they were in that age that they found it very funny, or if probably they did not find it funny, they had their own insecurities. Whatever
Mm,
it was, I don't care now. What I cared was physical fitness was my weakness, but I have successfully worked upon that. And that's
mm,
something I carry with myself.
mm. I always advise people, the clients or family members, like nobody can define you.
True.
Only it is you who can define. God can define, definitely. He has defined you and sent you here. You need to explore and find out the definition of you.
Right.
Okay, that is one thing I believe, and I work on that. That is one thing. You said it correctly. I just twisted a few words here and there.
Right.
I also remember Idiots, where Farhan comes and says that to Parikshit Sahani, his father, like, गुप्ता साहब क्या सोचेंगे उसमें मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Right.
आप क्या सोचेंगे, मम्मी क्या सोचेगी, वो ज़्यादा फ़र्क पड़ता है.
वो ज़्यादा फ़र्क पड़ता है. Correct.
So either family members or myself, what I think of myself, who I am, for them, my family members, that is more important. Gupta sahab kya bolenge, Sarma sahab kya bolenge, it doesn't matter really. Wonderful,
Right.
wonderful.
Right.
Okay, now now we will come to the context of social media.
Yes.
With social media shaping how young people see themselves, the pressure to fit in and seek validation is stronger than ever. Previously we were not aware of all these things. Okay, so ये दिमाग में था भी नहीं ये बुलिंग क्या है. ठीक
Correct.
है, but now with the I mean ये जो social media का explosion of information, it has made it worse. Even public figures aren't spared.
Correct.
Take Indian cricketer Hardik Pandya. What happened in 2024? It is right. Yeah,
Yes.
24.
Yes.
Yeah, before the IPL, when after the auction,
Correct.
and he was bullied like crazy. Like, for example, I mean, despite his talent and achievements, he has been repeatedly booed, trolled, and labeled by people at every stadium he went to play,
Correct.
as well as on the social media.
Correct.
Like he was called a dog. If the dog also runs into the stadium, they call, hey, Hardik, Hardik.
Right.
They called the dog, called him a dog, and chapri. Chapri to बहुत common hai. I don't know the meaning of that. And he was booed. Okay, and
Right.
it was too bad, and we could see the talk to grow wala experience after the T20 World Cup में उसका actual expression उधर हम लोग देख पाए. We could witness that when India won it,
Correct.
and he was one of the key
Right.
players of the team.
Right.
So my question is, if someone at his level faces such scrutiny, imagine what students go through every day, or what other people go through.
Exactly.
Do you think students or anybody else apart from students today face more pressure in terms of self image and validation? How can they develop a healthy sense of self worth?
This is something they definitely do because I have been training students in the past few months quite a lot. So I have realized that in a class of, let's say, 50 students, there will be 4 or 5 of them who are overachievers, and then the remaining 44 or 46 of them will be in that average, above average group, or 10, 20 of them are on the path of doing something great, and the rest of them have no clue what they're doing. This is the usual scenario that I have seen, and in such cases, this thing starts bothering them a lot. That okay, my classmate is doing this at the same age. Why am I not doing so much? Or I don't even have a clue of what I'm doing. And upon that, Instagram has made things very bad. And a lot of times, there are a lot of pages who have made this thing very clear that if you're failing or if you're in a delusion, then yeah, it is a new cool and all of those things. So I, of course, I don't believe in all those concepts, but one thing that students actually can do to make sure it does not take a toll on their self images, every time you're on social media, again, I'm not here to control the way anybody is expressing, but
Correct.
with time I have realized that an opinion which is not expressed very openly lead to some lesser amount of conflicts or will call for some less amount of battles. A lot of times there are people who really go out and express things very directly. It is just a part of their personality. You can't ask them to change it overnight. But that ends up triggering so many people. Of course, it is not their problem, but the aftermath of that is definitely their problem because it is taking a toll on them. So that is why I think mindful usage of social media can be very helpful. And I have
Yeah,
seen a lot of
that was my question. Next question: what are its psychological effects, and what steps can students take to safeguard themselves, like online? Yeah, mindfulness is one thing,
true.
and
I think that's one thing, and I think people need to understand that there is a thin line of difference between sharing about you on social media and oversharing it. I
mm,
see a lot of people oversharing about themselves on social media.
mm,
I don't have any issues with it. I don't do it does not mean that everybody else can't do. It's up to them. It's their choice. But it does lead to a lot of, I won't say problems or issues, but it makes things very observant for different people around.
correct, correct.
And you call me old school, but I do believe कि हाँ नजर लग जाती है चीजों को,
Mm,
and that is something which is a real thing. Okay, it might sound very superstitious at this point, but when it happens, then you start believing that, oh, probably I overshared it. So when you draw the thin line of difference between how
yeah, yeah.
much and what you need to share, and
Mm,
what are the things that you are comfortable sharing, and some things that you're sharing only for the world to see rather than for you to express,
yes,
when you
yes.
will be able to understand what is the right way of using it. A lot of times you do it because you want to show it to the world. It's
Yeah,
fine, it's a good feeling that you want to express about your achievements. It's really nice. But sometimes more than just the achievements,
yeah,
we
yeah.
end up expressing literally everything, every single
Mm,
detail about our day. That's not because we want to express, we want the world to know that, oh, I am not missing out on things in life.
mm,
It could be a Coldplay concert, it could be
mm,
any upcoming screening of a new movie or anything of that sort. But
mm,
if that thin line of difference is clear to people, a lot of these issues will not come up at all, is what I
mm. I mean, here also on social network, setting boundaries is very much needed.
of course.
And that is very much, I think, it's needed. And as you said, mindfulness, sharing and oversharing, that is necessary.
True.
So I have my last question.
Sure.
I hope all the, I mean, okay. I hope, yeah, Kalpana is commenting only. I would invite all of us, whoever is listening to us, if you can comment apart from Kalpana. Not that I'm asking Kalpana to stop. No, I want to ask her to comment more and more. But yeah, if others can also comment and give their feedback, it will be wonderful. Yeah, the pressure to stay relevant is real in social media perspective. Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Absolutely. What do you think about what Kalpana said?
That's true. That's very true. If you are not sharing the latest memes, if you're not updated with the current trends, people will start, abandoning you. That is how the world has become
Absolutely.
fast.
Abandoning you literally.
Exactly. Though that is not something that happens. People
Yeah,
remember it for 2, 3 days and then they forget it. But yes, that
absolutely.
pressure is real. It is felt.
Yeah, pressure is real. My last question to you is if you could go back in time and speak to your younger self, the younger Huzefa, the one who was struggling through those tough days. I think you have already answered this question initially. Still, I'm asking you, what would you say and what message do you have for students who are currently facing bullying? That's the last tips for your younger Huzefa. If you go back and what would you suggest to him and to the students of this world today?
I think two very specific things. First thing is talk it out. Okay, I was not very quick in doing it. Rather, I did not do it at all. If probably I would have spoken, I would have gotten some better way of dealing with those things, and those things would not have impacted me so much. Because today, when I look back, it seems like okay, fine, it was just about my weight, but back then it did take a huge toll on me, and a
Mm,
lot of my perspectives got shaped because of that opinions that I held at that point of time.
mm,
Today, if something of that sort happens, I would like that younger self of Huzafa to go and talk about these things to the people who really care about him. So for
wonderful.
students, it will be a little difficult, at least in school, yes. But by the
Yes.
time you reach your adolescence and your adulthood, around
Mm,
19, 20 years old, you
mm,
know who are the ones who really care for you. So please
mm.
go talk about these things to them. Even if it means it's something that has happened just once and it's bothering you constantly, it's fine.
Correct.
It's not that you are bothering them. If people care for you and if they are ready to listen to you, no matter how many times you go and tell them, they won't get bothered by it.
Mm,
It is as simple as that. And the second thing is, I would just like people to be themselves.
mm,
Don't change for anything that anybody is doing to you. And if you feel that
mm.
if I start changing myself, this thing will automatically stop, it won't. People will find another reason to bully you. If not your weight, it might be your culture. If not your culture, it might be your gender. If not gender, it might be something else about your background.
Yeah, yeah.
The ones who want to, they will find some reason. So please don't stop being yourself. I think
Mm,
these two are the only things that I would like my younger version to know, and to
mm,
other students and anybody else, even at workplace. I see a lot of these things happening. People stay silent because it is the career that matters in the end. But it's always better you go talk it out to your tribe, and don't stop change who you are, and just be yourself. And I think that's more than enough.
Wonderful, wonderful. Kalpana's another comment is, if people can be bullied for aging, then we have miles to travel for constructing a mindful society. Absolutely.
Very true. Very true.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this is a very relevant comment. And to sum it up, the tips are for the younger generation and for all the adults: be assertive. Don't care if you are called egoistic or arrogant or you're talking back. Express it clearly and set boundaries. Resilience, show resilience. Come back again and again, because challenges will come. You will face challenges again and again. So be resilient again and again. And also be mindful and don't overshare. Set a boundary over there.
Right.
And it's very risky as well in this AI generation. And I mean, some of the pictures, the way they change the pictures to, I mean, weird things are happening these days.
Deep fakes. Understand?
Yeah, yeah. So it is very dangerous. Be careful. सावधान इंडिया में जैसे बोलते हैं, सेफ रहिए, सावधान रहिए.
सतर्क रहिए, सावधान रहिए.
Yes, yes, सतर्क रहिए, सावधान रहिए. And thank you so much, audience. Thank you so much, Huzefa, for honoring me. And it's a wonderful podcast. We are over 1 hour now.
Right.
Yes. So I hope you enjoyed talking to me and to the audience. I hope Kalpana and others, those who are still online and listening to us live, and of course those who will be watching this podcast later on. I believe there will be many people who will definitely watch this podcast on YouTube and LinkedIn. Do share this and repost this podcast. And if you have any personal issues you're struggling with, you can contact Huzefa. You can follow Huzefa if you are not still following. If you're not following me, then please follow me. And also share your heartaches. Pour your heart. I am there to help you. Listen by listening, and Huzefa will help you to talk it out.
Right.
Okay.
For sure. Thank
We
you.
will
Thank
be,
you so
we
much.
will be your ears, and we will help you to lend our ears and our tongue. We will teach how to talk and how to listen. Okay. So again, I will say, satark rahiye, सावधान रहिए. Good night. Good night, all of you. Good
Thank you
night,
so much,
Huzefa.
everyone. Thank you, Chiradeep ji. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night.